So as the fan operates, it pulls in the fresh air from the outside. Air goes over the heater coils, it is heated, and then through the trays where the moisture transfers from the food into the air. And the moist air coming from the trays is either exhausted or part of it may be recycled back with the fresh air. Again, note that this is a batch system. The variation of a cabinet dryer is the use of vacuum. In this case, the trays are placed inside the drying cabinet, and the cabinet is subjected to low pressure by use of a vacuum pump. The vacuum pump pulls the air from the cabinet dryer through a condenser where the moisture coming from the product is condensed. In case of a vacuum dryer, the drying is accomplished at lower temperatures than in case of cabinet dryers where we have atmospheric pressure. By using lower temperatures, you can get improvements in product quality. Tunnel dryers are commonly used for drying products like grapes and also for prunes. In this case, there is a long tunnel. Food is placed on carts, and we have heated air that is blown through the product. Now, if the direction of airflow is the same as the movement of the product, then this type of a dryer is called a concurrent flow dryer. The heated air is exhausted, and the carts containing dried food exit from the tunnel dryer in a sequential manner. It may take up to 36 to 48 hours for wholeheartedly on space. Solid foods are of smaller size and easier to fluidize. In this case, the food is placed on a porous plate so that air can be blown from underneath. Now, the velocity of the air is such that the food particles are essentially lifted slightly from the porous plate during the drying process. This creates very good contact between the air and the food. The convective heat and mass transfer coefficients are high in the case of a fluidized bed. Fluidized bed systems are often used for granular foods. Spray dryers are commonly used to make powders. For example, we can convert milk into milk powder. In a spray dryer, the liquid food is converted into a spray at the very top of the chamber by using spray nozzles, and also there is an entry point for the heated air. The air may be exhausted from the lower part of the chamber, and as those droplets fall inside this chamber, the water present in the droplet evaporates and the solid particles are collected at the bottom. Spray dryers operate in a continuous manner, and inside a spray dryer, we see examples of both constant rate type of a dryer that is used in the food industry is a freeze dryer. In this case, we use a chamber which is maintained at low pressures. Inside the chamber, there is a plate that provides the necessary heat, and product that is pre-frozen is placed on the plate, and due to the low pressure that is present in the chamber, ice converts the freeze with speed energy with the food of first freezing the food, then exposing are operated.
Okay, saya skip lah sebab dia punya explanation detail sangat. So you just know the process, okay? So kalau kamu nak tengok detail, you can just Google this video later on. I will upload this video in e-learning, okay? Okay, so let's continue. Kejap. Okay, nampak tak slide saya ni? Nampak tak?
Nampak.
Okay, saya continue je lah. Okay, so ini video 1 kat sini lah. Dia mention each and every dryers type here. Spray dryers for example, the last one. Okay, fluidized bed dryers. Macam mana ya dia punya method of the dryings. Okay, so this is dia punya design lah. For example, basic hot air dryer. So this is the design. So you can just take a look. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you how to draw this. This is just for your information. No need to really memorize how the designs, but you are not macam bukannya arkitek ke apa ke, you just know the kata basic things sahaja. Okay, so basic hot air design, dryer design ni dia punya how it is work. The explanation is here, so you can just watch the video previously, so you know lah how that hot air dryer function. So this is the explanation. You can just take a look later on. And then this is the bin dryers. The real picture is like this, yeah. Bin dryers macam ni gambar betul dia. And then this is the schematic diagram of the bin dryers. Okay, so you can just go through later on. We also have the cabinet dryers, yeah, macam cabinet, or we can be called to as tray dryers like this. So this is how it functions. Don't worry, this is just for your information. No need to really memorize this part. Just know, okay. And then tunnel dryers, tunnel ni macam tunnel lah. So this is the real picture of the tunnel dryers in a factory. And this is the schematic diagram. And this is the explanation how it really function. Okay. And then we also have the conveyor dryers or belt dryers. Dia macam belt lah, macam ni dia bergerak kan. Makanan letakkan ni dia akan bergerak. So this is in a factory. Okay, so and this is the schematic diagram how it function. Okay, we have a belt here, foam mat drying belt, which is equipped with the foam mat drying. Okay, and the fluidized bed dryers. So this is the main features ataupun main component for this bed dryers, distributor, plenum, chamber and so on. Quite complicated. Don't worry, you are not engineering student, so just know je lah, tak perlu nak hafal sangat lah. Just know the process. Dekat video tadi dia dah summarize dah. Okay, so this is the explanation of how it is been conducted. I have a video here. Okay, let's see video 2. So this is the example of the food that have been processed using these dryers. We have like spices here. So I'll just show you the video. Video 2, fluid bed dryers. This is quite famous
Fluid
method of drying too. Nampak
Fluid
tak?
bed dryer with functions of mixing and drying is
Tak nampak
widely
beritahu, ya?
applied in such industries as pharmaceutical, foodstuff, chemical, dairy, etc. It is composed of machine tower, spraying system, secondary filter system, and air processing system. Inlet air processing system covers primary filter, medium effective filter, hot cold air shutter valve, steam heater, and high temperature resistant HEPA. Machine tower is designed in 4 sections including lower plenum duct, product container, expansion chamber, and top filter house. Secondary filter can avoid leaking of powder from the top filter house and ensures safety and protects the environment. WIP is optional for customers to clean machine easily. Drying work will be ready after the product is sucked into product container by means of negative pressure. After passing through the inlet air processing system and going into the lower plenum, the inlet air will blow product up, making it fluid and dried. After reach to the end point, drying work is finished. After repeated powder drying, we can get the ideal, even and dried granules finally. The filter bags in the top house shakes alternately and repeatedly. After passing through the top bag filter and the secondary filter unit, air will be discharged outside. After the machine is stopped, we swing out the product container for the next process.
Okay, so this is how the fluid bed dryer process ya, dikeringkan dalam mesin ni. Sekejap. Okay. Okay, done. So next is kiln dryers. Yeah, this is another type of kiln dryers. Okay, which is consists of like a 2-story buildings with a drying room with a slatted floor is located above a furnace. Ya, ada macam floor ni bawah furnace, tempat pemanasan tu. So this is the dia punya schematic diagram for the wood drying kiln. Okay. Okay, this and then the next one is pneumatic dryers. Okay, so this is the example of the pneumatic dryers. Okay, you just know this is the explanation. Usually for the moist powders or particulate foods, particle makanan which usually less than 40% moisture, and this is the particle size below in between the range of 10 to 500 micrometer. So this is dia punya moisture dan juga particle size for this kind of dryers. Okay, so this is the advantage dia lah, low capital and maintenance cost, and it can yield high drying rates, ya, kadar penggunaan tinggi. Okay, so you can just go through later on. Okay, next banyak sangat lah rotary dryers pula, which is this is the example, the rotary dryers, a slightly inclined, which is up to 5 degree rotating metal cylinder is fitted internally ni, dia ada macam metal cylinder yang boleh berpusing, yang dia dipasang di dalam bahagian rotary dryers ni. So this is the diagram dia lah. Don't worry, you just know the function, how it function generally, dan juga suitable for foods which is tend to stick together in belt or tray dryer. So kita boleh letak dia makanan tu di atas belt tadi ataupun conveyors tadi. Okay, and then next dryer is spray dryers. I think this is the last part. Okay, we have a spray dryers. Okay, a fine dispersion of pre-concentrated food. Okay, ini untuk makanan yang pre-concentrated lah, between dia punya moisture in between 40 to 60% moisture. So it's first atomized. Nampak ni dia guna perkataan atom in order to form the fine droplet, ya. Makanan yang macam lembab tadi tu kita nak bentuk fine droplet. Droplet tu dalam bahasa Melayu fine tu sangat halus, droplet tu macam susu tepung yang sangat halus, macam tu lah, something like that. Droplet, ya, dia punya makanan tu berubah dalam bentuk fine droplet yang sangat halus. Okay, so we have 2 videos here, video 3 and 4, to help you understand how this spray dryers mechanism. Okay, so video 3, we start with video 3, spray dryer. Okay, Widah ni dia punya iklan dia. Okay, so that is the type of spray dryers ya. Macam nak buat susu tepung semua tu lah. Okay, rasa macam UMK ada ke IFSA ke apa ada. Rasa macam ada kan? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, next video for spray dryer animation. Okay, this is another video. Okay. Okay, itu another video for spray dryer animation. Okay, we are done here for the spray dryers ya. Nampak ya how its mechanism and function. Okay, so we are done with all type of dryers. Kita pergi kepada sun and solar drying. Okay, so this is a more conventional method in drying without any aid from the equipment. Tak ada apa-apa equipment kecuali for the solar maybe we have a panel solar. Okay, so this is one of the most widely practiced because it is free. Okay, foods are simply laid in fields or on roof or other flat surfaces and turned regularly until dry. So kita letak atas tray ke ataupun dekat padang yang luas ke, and then kita akan whether manually lah turn that flat food surface from time to time nak bagi kering. Kita balik-balikkan dia lah. And then this is we have a more sophisticated method. We call it as solar drying. So this is using a panel of solar which collects solar energy and heat air, which is in turn used for drying. Okay, so the solar dryers consist of the following: direct natural circulation dryers, direct dryers with a separate collector, and indirect forced convection dryers. Okay, so this is for the solar dryers, a more sophisticated or macam canggih sikit lah daripada sunrise biasa ni. Okay, so this is the advantage and disadvantages of the open air sun drying. Macam kalau kita keringkan sahaja. So normally almost without cost. Tanpa sebarang cost lah. But the disadvantage is it is open to dust contamination and animal attack. So this is one of the disadvantage of the open air sun drying. So you can just go through later on. This is the table that I provided here. Kita ada masalah, very straight point. And then this is for the solar dryers yang tadi yang kita bincang This is the example how it is being set up. Okay, the solar dryers use a simple construction. Simple saja dia punya binaan to more efficiently make use of the sun heat. Dia cuma lebih efisien lah penggunaan sinaran matahari tadi untuk proses pengeringan. Okay, so under the correct climatic condition, they can provide many advantages over the sun drying. So lebih banyaklah faedah dia berbanding dengan sun drying. For example, it can high drying temperature, lebih tinggi, and then protect from dust and contamination and rain. So because we have a cover here, and low cost and simple to construct in local workshop. So lebih murah sikit lah. Okay, next we have the heated surface or contact dryers. Pemanasan permukaan lah. Okay, for example, ni lah conventional frying pan. Okay, we have a frying pan here which is heat is supplied to the food by conduction. Sebab kat sini kita direct touch using the solid surface, so the heat transfer is by the conduction. Okay, so the advantage over hot drying, ini advantage dia, not necessary to heat large volume of air. So tak perlu nak panaskan udara yang dalam kuantiti yang banyak lah before the drying process begins. And then the thermal efficiency is high compared to the hot air drying. Okay, so it also can be carried out in the absence of oxygen. Okay, tanpa oksigen pun kita boleh terus proceed je guna heated surfaces ni. Okay, next is drum dryers. Ada lagi slowly rotating hollow steel. Macam ni lah bentuk dia ya. Drum dryers tadi. Okay, so this is how it is function. You can just take a look here. Before the drum has completed one revolution, maksudnya dia berputar tu within 20 second to 30 minute, the dried food is scraped off by a doctor blade. Dia ada blade lah kat dalam tu. Drums surface uniformly along its length ya. Okay, for example, we have single drum, double drum, ada satu, ada dua ataupun twin drums. Secara ni twins ya, rapat-rapat. Okay, so the disadvantage, I think this is the disadvantage of the drum dryers, high capital cost. It requires a high capital cost lah and heat damage to sensitive food. Boleh menyebabkan makanan tu, the quality of food also can be affected due to the heat damage in the drum temperature. Suhu tinggi boleh menyebabkan ataupun merosakkan makanan tersebut lah. And then next dryer, banyak betul lah ya, vacuum band dryers. So this is the vacuum for the food slurry ya, makanan dalam bentuk slurry tadi. So kita spread or sprayed into steel belt. Dia ada belt kat sini. So which passes over two hollow drums. Dua drum yang berlubang lah dalam dia. Okay, within a vacuum chamber ya. Vacuum chamber tu maksudnya vacuum lah, dalam keadaan vacuum, very compact without the existing of oxygen and so on. So this is dia punya tekanan lah, 1 to 70 torr the pressure. Okay, so this is how the food is being dried using the steam heated drum and then followed the steam heated coils. So the dry food is then cooled by water ya. Kita sejukkan dengan water cooled drum and removed by blade. Okay. Next is vacuum. Sama, lebih kurang sama dengan vacuum band, cuma yang ni in shaft dryers, dalam bentuk shaft ya. So this is the process and rapid drying and limited heat damage to food. Okay, so yang ni ada punya advantage lah. Dia lebih rapid drying. The drying process is faster and less damage to the food, which is suitable for the heat sensitive food. So this vacuum shaft dryers is suitable for the heat sensitive food. Okay, so this is the disadvantage also explained here. Ada disadvantage dia, high capital and operating cost ya, but the low production. Maksudnya memerlukan cost yang tinggi tapi production dia rendah. So this is quite costly lah. Okay, next. Okay, I think this is the last part lah, effect on food. So of course all this kind of heating process can affect the food quality. Okay, in terms of the texture, loss of flavor or aroma, changes in color, and also the nutritional value. Okay, for example, in texture, I already listed the texture effect to the food by using this kind of heating process. For example, nature and extent of pre-treatment. We have this is the calcium chloride that have been added to blancher water. Kita nak blanch food tadi. Type and extent of size reduction and peeling. Okay, ini dapat mempercepatkan proses peeling process tu. Macam nak buang kulit apa limau ke apa kan. Okay, so it can affect the texture of rehydrated fruit and vegetables. Dia boleh effect lah dia bila kita tambah calcium chloride ni. And then it may loss of texture due to the, inilah proses dia, sama ada gelatinization of starch, crystallization of cellulose, kandungan content nutrient dalam tu boleh berubah. Okay, so you can just read the details after this slide. Okay, Next is in term of flavor and aroma. Yeah, flavor and aroma also can be affected using this method, which is heat not only vaporize water during drying but also cause loss of volatile component from food. Maksudnya bukan air saja yang hilang daripada proses pengeringan tadi, tapi komponen-komponen maksudnya nutrisi dalam makanan tu juga boleh evaporate from the food. So it can also affected the flavor, rasa dan juga aroma makanan tersebut. Okay, in dried milk, so ni contohlah saya bagi dried milk semua tu, you can just go through later on. Okay, and then also this is a detailed explanation. For example, enzymes, but enzyme is very sensitive to heat kan, so you can just go through. Okay, flour changes prevention, and then fruit. For example, fruit kita guna sulfur dioxide, ascorbic acid or citric acid to preserve or to remove the certain part of the fruit. For example, the peeling process of fruit. So it also can affect the flavor and aroma of fruits. Okay. For the meat and fruit juices, kita ada pasteurization, and vegetable we have the blanching, yeah, to preserve or to prolong the shelf life of the vegetable. So this is the process. Okay, next the effect in terms of color. Okay, drying changes the face characteristic of food. Alters is its reflectivity and colors. Yeah. So for example, apple ni lah kan, perang dan juga ni color yang well preserved lah. Okay. Okay, in fruits and vegetable, for example, chemical changes to carotenoid and chlorophyll due to heat and oxidation during drying. So inilah kandungan carotenoid dan juga chlorophyll yang ada dalam fruit and vegetable ni can be affected by the heat. So this is during the oxidation process lah, okay. So this is also one of the effect of food in terms of color. So you can just, or for example, we have the Maillard browning. I think we already discussed in this previously. I think we already discussed, yeah, kesan Maillard ni kan, Maillard browning, installed milk and fruit produce depend on the water activity and temperature of storage. Okay, so this is the example of the effect of heat in terms of color to the food. Okay. Next, nutritional value, yeah, nutrisi. For example, in fruits and vegetable, the losses of nutritional value occurred during the preparation usually exceed those caused by drying operation. Okay, so what is the meaning here is, okay, dalam fruit and vegetable preparation, normally the nutritional value ni dia hilang semasa persiapan lah, preparation purpose. Melebihi daripada proses pengeringan. Pengeringan tu memang hilang juga, tapi sikit berbanding dengan proses semasa penyediaan dia. Macam kamu basuh ke, kamu macam kerap potong-potong kecil-kecil ke, blanching ke apa. So itu lebih tinggi berbanding dengan semasa drying operation. For example, we have some vitamins. For example, riboflavin that become super saturated and precipitate from solution, so losses are small. Ini dia senang ya. Riboflavin in fruit and vegetable ni dia super saturated, dia sangat saturated, sangat tepu dalam fruit and vegetable. So dia senang orang kata precipitate from solution. Dia senang duduk dalam tu, kuatlah duduk dalam tu. So dia punya kata losses to the surrounding due to the heat is kecil sajalah. Okay, dia dah stable dah duduk dalam fruit and vegetables tu. Okay, then we have ascorbic acid, soluble, ya, dia mudah larut until the moisture content of the food falls to very low level. So dia mudah hilang ke persekitaran lah kandungan asid ascorbic ni. Okay, that's why macam I give you a very simple example. Kalau kamu macam ascorbic acid ni banyak dalam kandungan vitamin C lah, macam limau ke apa, orange ke kan, dia banyak kandungan ascorbic acid. So that's why kalau kamu macam masakan yang memerlukan kamu letak jus limau ni, kita tak boleh letak masa suhu yang terlalu panas sebab nanti kandungan ascorbic acid dia tu akan evaporate to the surrounding. So dia very sensitive ya, vitamin C ni. Ascorbic acid ni dia refers to the vitamin C. So that's why kita tak boleh nak panaskan makanan yang kita masukkan jus ni lama-lama sebab dia very sensitive ya. Okay, itu salah satu karakteristik of the ascorbic acid. Nampak ni, vitamin C is sensitive to heat and oxidation. Same goes to the thiamine. Okay. Senang cerita, nutritional nutrisi dalam makanan ni sangat sensitif kepada haba lah. That's why kalau sayur ke apa ke, kita tak boleh nak masak atau goreng lama sebab nanti kandungan nutrisi dalam sayur tu sendiri akan hilang. Kamu goreng sayur ke, masak sayur ke apa, tumis ke apa, tak boleh lama-lama ya. Please bear in mind that if you are a science student, you know this fact actually. Okay, last but not least is the rehydration. So rehydration refers to the water that is removed from a food during dehydration cannot be replaced in the same way when the food is rehydrated. Maksudnya kalau kita dah buang kandungan air tu daripada makanan tadi semasa pemprosesan, kita tak boleh nak ganti balik dah. Tak apalah nak masuk balik kandungan air dalam makanan, tak boleh. It cannot be replaced in the same way. Tak sama dah dengan yang kandungan asal. So bear in mind that rehydration is not the reverse of drying. Kita tak boleh nak tak boleh nak orang kata patah balik macam drying and then rehydration dapat sama kualiti makanan. Tidak. This is because due to the loss of cellular osmotic pressure. Ini semua more to macam biological of the food science itself. Changes in cell membrane permeability and then solid migrate, kehilangan bahan terlarut ataupun nutrisi dalam makanan tu, or crystallization of polysaccharides, ya, dah berubah dah dia punya polysaccharide, gula-gula, kandungan gula dalam buah-buahan ke, sayuran ke kan. And then coagulation of cellular protein. So tak sama dah. So this is for the rehydration. Okay, those food that are dried under optimal conditions suffer less damage. Yeah? So remember, we have to make sure that our food are dried under a very optimal condition in order to to preserve the food quality of those food. Okay, rehydrate more rapidly and completely than poorly dried food. Okay, so yang ni yang kalau dah kita dried dia under optimal condition, kita boleh rehydrate balik lebih cepat dan lebih inilah senang berbanding dengan kita main kering je dia tanpa without taking care of the optimal condition. So we didn't put the optimal condition for the poorly dried food. Ya, lebih susahlah kita nak rehydrate balik. So the quality is become very poor compared to the properly dried under the optimum conditions. Okay, so that is the last slide. Okay, any question? Rasa macam cakap seorang je ni. Actually this is part where you can read. Kalau ada rasa part susah macam very science sikit tu, I just put for your kata understanding, bukan understanding, for your knowledge, general knowledge. Sebab nanti kan kalau bagi on surface sangat, kenapa jadi macam ni? Kok ada yang rajin? Why it like this? What is the explanation? Kadang rajin nak baca. Okay, so this is, but you don't have to go in detail because you are not engineering student, not architecture student. So I just give you the basic and then if you are interested, you can just proceed. But the question is not going to ask you into the detail part. Don't worry. If that part nampak macam susah sangat, it is because just extra information for you. But don't worry because you are just SBF student kan. So not engineering student or food science student. You just know everything on surface, not into detail. But for the lecture, I have to provide a very detailed explanation just in case some of you might interested or might interest to know the detailed process. Okay. Mana tahu lepas ni nak sambung dalam food science pula ke, engineering pula ke. So this is only orang kata basic exposure to you ya, pendedahan asas. Okay, any question before I end our lecture today? Because I am recording now, so if the longer the time taken, the bigger the size of the video today. Any question? Yang tak ada, boleh baca je sebenarnya. Okay, so saya stop recording. I will stop the recording first. Okay.